This is the Pivotal Running Podcast, and you're listening to Greg Derbyshire,
Chris Grunhagen,
and Marty Wimblom.
And we are three jackrabbits from two different countries who continue to follow running in the upper Midwest.
And we want to discuss important topics, inspiring stories, and extraordinary performances in running. Welcome, everybody, to the Pivotal Running Podcast. Today, we are super excited to have a talk with Everett Smulders today. Everett currently holds...
CEO.
Yeah, CEO of WesFly, LLC. He currently holds a PER of 358.73 for the mile and 148.75 for the 800 meters. Everett is also part of the Ole Miss Distance Medley Relay Squad, which just set the school record and SEC record at 9 minutes, 29 seconds, 0.35. This Ole Miss squad will be headed to the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships at the Randall Tyson Track Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas, March 11th through the 13th. Everett is an innovator, a disruptor, and it's a privilege and an honor to have him on the Pivotal Running Podcast.
It is a privilege.
What's going on, Everett, man? What's going on?
Hey, it's just another day in the life of the CEO here. I'm a busy man, but hey, it's a privilege and an honor to be on the Pivotal Running Podcast. It's the least I could do for the godfathers of the sport. I pay my respects where my respects are due. I'm here with a active Army member, so I had to get on the podcast tonight. Pay my dues, and we're gonna have some good discussions.
No, thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming on today and having this conversation. I really got to ask, being from Atlanta, Georgia, I was wearing this hat for you, man. Have you ever been on the Pinhoti Trail?
I've not. I've never even heard of it. I guess I'm a fake Atlantean.
No, man. No, it's right. It's the Georgia, Alabama.
Silver Comet Trail is what they call it nowadays.
Okay, all right. On the Alabama side, it's the Pinhoti there. So.
Yeah, I remember it's a 50-mile trail, and you can bike from Georgia into Alabama. And one time I did it, and I went and got fireworks because they were illegal in Alabama, stuffed my backpack with them, and biked back home to Atlanta. So, that's what
you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to light some fireworks. That's
exactly
great. Well, you certainly putting pretty good at lighting some fireworks off, certainly with the most recent SEC championships. What a phenomenal performance by your squad there. I would love to hear sort of some of the insights from your perspective, not only on your own races, but also your teammates as well.
Yeah, I honestly don't even want to talk too much about my own races, just because it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen from a team of any sport that I've ever been on. We showed up at that meet, we dominated the DMR from the beginning, and then a flame was just lit under every single teammate. And, we went out there and we had something to prove. And, every single event that was going on, whether it was the mile or the 3K or the 5K, there was a group of Ole Miss guys in the corner supporting. And it was a, COVID, socially distant stadium, but you could hear a group of like 6 rebels just blowing the doors off. And, we went and had the most legendary conference meet in Ole Miss history. And, we've just got all this momentum going into national championships, and we're going in and get some titles. We're keeping it going. And, it's not something I take lightly. It was honestly the coolest weekend of my life. And yeah, it's just got everyone fired up to go and perform more.
Yeah, you can certainly feel the energy, even watching, the races. I was able to watch the live stream also on, I think it was on ESPN. And just being able to see you all, you could see it during the races, but also hearing it in your voice as you describe it too. So that's really cool to see not only, once again, track, which some people view as an individual sport, but how you bring individual performances and accomplishments together collectively to accomplish something bigger than yourself. So my hat's off to you. And, going into the NCAA championships here in just over a week, good luck to you.
Thank you. Yeah. It sounds corny. They say, alone you can only do so much, but with a team you can. I forget what the saying is, but it's so true. If I was out there running unattached, I'm just running for myself. But when you're with a team of guys where we've put in the miles, we're up at six in the morning, 4 days a week, grinding our asses off for each other. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we're grinding our asses off for each other. And, if I were to get on that mile final on that third day with 2 races in my legs, just doing it for myself, I don't know if I could do it. But, having the team on my back, the pressure's on, we're this close to, having a legendary performance. It's just a type of energy that you can't create on your own.
That's great. No, I got to ask, so where did this running journey really begin? I got to go back to the start because, it seems like here we're talking about, championships, both, collectively, and then obviously your individual performances. But man, how did this journey begin in running?
Yeah, people see the success that I'm having now and Ole Miss is having now, but what they don't see is, the tough times. And, I personally started from nothing. I was in 8th grade and I had no real, I wasn't good at anything. I was a troublemaker in school. I was a class clown. I was, rolling in with the wrong crowd and, I was just headed down a bad path. And I sort of just had I flipped a switch and I was like, I'm sick of being a loser and not being good at anything. So I did some soul searching and I really wanted to figure out something that I could, stick my nose in and just, pure effort. You might not be able to be the best basketball player ever, but in a sport like running, it's like all the, there's talents and whatnot out there, but I'd say 95, 99% of it is like your commitment and your dedication to the training. And I just saw that it was something that, if you just put in the time and the effort, you will be good. And then, I've had a rough not a rough first 2 years, but I was nothing special. And then, I was playing basketball and I really decided to hang the basketball shoes up and go all in on it. And then I sort of fell in love with, being good at something. And it just fueled the fire even more. Like in assemblies on Monday morning, my school would, recap the accomplishments from the weekend. And it just felt so good to like have my name be announced in the school. And, I just kind of fell in love with it. And now I'm popping off this season. I credit, the Dragon Energy from WesFly. I'm talking the talk and I get on the line to back it up. And man, I'm really living like I can't remember a time in my life where I've been this like happy with what's going on, this dedicated and committed. And like a lot of times you'll show up to a workout and like not want to do it, but like 6 in the morning, alarm goes off, I'm wide awake, ready to go. So yeah, started off not being good at anything, and I figured out, I could be good at this if I just put in the time and the effort. And yeah, now I'm chasing dreams.
No, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing that. Having patience, not only with yourself, but sort of really trusting the process that it's going to work and it's going to pay off. These steps that you put in one after another are actually going to be you're getting out as much as you're getting putting into it. So it's funny that you said earlier a little bit about backing it up. I've never heard of anybody saying I'm going to run sub 4 minutes and then the very next meet do it. And that's pretty impressive. I mean, that bold prediction, that's like a Babe Ruth type calling your own shot there.
Yeah, a lot of people I feel like are, they have these ideas in their head and, they think they can kind of do something, but, they don't want to put it out there and they don't want to say something and then, disappoint the people who they told them. But, just put it out there. And That first time I broke 4 minutes in the mile was coming off a double, and I felt like trash and I was on the line. But, you know, when you say the things that I say, you don't have a choice but to put on at least put on a respectable effort. Like 600 meters in that race, I felt like dog shit. And, I knew I had my whole crew, supporting me, and I knew everyone was watching me. I know everyone wants to see me fail because, I'm this villain in this game, but, that just fuels me up. I love the pressure, and I really love to see people make me want to fail. And, yeah, I just spoke into existence, really.
No, it's really cool to see. So did you find any advantages about your playing basketball help you as you transitioned and fully committed into running?
Definitely, yeah. I've had tons of little league coaches who really taught me about hard work, and of course every coach is going to want their athletes to work hard, but like there's this one specific coach who believed in me, and really made me feel good about myself, and made me feel like I was capable of putting the team on my back, and talk to me about being a leader and how like I can make a difference. And you can translate that into any facet of life. So you learn how to work with the team, you learn how to be a leader, and yeah, it's just you learn life lessons in all sports, and I definitely carried those over.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, deciding about attending Ole Miss, was that a difficult decision for you, or did they find you? Did you find them? Were you looking at other schools?
No, that's a funny story, actually. Atlanta, born and raised. I wanted to go to University of Georgia my whole life. My grandfather went there, and like I said, I was a troublemaker. I wasn't too good at the academics, and my times as a junior, you use your junior times to go run or do whatever in college, because you got to commit senior year. And I reached out to the Georgia coach, and he brought me on an unofficial visit. And I thought he was going to give me an offer, but because I couldn't get into the school off my academics, he would have let me be a walk-on. And he told me one day, he said, "Look, like we don't have room for you. You might want to go," because I was either going to go to Ole Miss or Georgia. Ole Miss was my backup. He said, "You might want to pursue that Ole Miss thing." And so right when he said that, I emailed Van Hoy, and he took a chance on me. And I love when people doubt me. I love when people count me out. And every time I see this Georgia coach at meets, I just give him a little head nod, like, "Thanks for not believing in me. Look where I am now." And it's so satisfying. And I hope
Yeah,
he hears
that's
this.
wow. That is impressive. Can you talk a little bit about the developmental process? I mean, you came in as a freshman,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
yeah, had some success definitely right away, but the process, right, of planning, preparing, and executing these races, and having that cyclical effect over the course of 4 years it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, no, it does take a lot of work, and it's not pretty. I've had 2 years in college where I've gotten femoral stress fractures, and I'm sidelined watching everyone else train, watching everyone else get better, feeling bad about myself. But then this past year, I just was like, you know what, screw that. I'm gonna stick my head down and do the best I can possibly do. As far as my transition going into college, I think a lot of mistakes that high schoolers nowadays make is they train like college athletes and professional athletes as high schoolers, and you'll see them run ridiculous times, and that's great. But my coach was very smart with me. He didn't tap me out. He didn't burn me out. Kept the mileage low, and it just left so much room for growth in college. And then when I got into a program with Robert Domanic, Sean Tobin, these legends, I was basically thrown to the wolves, and I went from doing 40 miles a week to 75 miles a week right off the bat. And you could just see from my last high school race, I ran 4:15, and I didn't even win the race. And then grinding my ass off all fall in college, and I had all these good people around me, in high school, I was, like I said, I was with the, not the best crowd. And I get put into a program like Ole Miss where, you don't socialize with anyone else. The team's your family. And I had no distractions. You're not going out. Like when you run at Ole Miss, you're 24/7. You're basically training like a pro and you're a student. And yeah, I just saw such big improvement, and the rest is history.
No, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, Everett, I appreciate this, man. A newbie at, getting my cutting my teeth on this, and this,
Hey,
but I'm thinking, hey, if I can do it, man.
yeah. I mean, I've been on a podcast before, and it's about the same thing. So you're doing well.
Okay, good deal. I appreciate the feedback, man. But
Yeah.
once again, honest and candidness,
Yeah.
that's the true gift.
Hey, I'm being honest and candid. I don't shy away from saying how I feel.
And I appreciate that, right? I know it's real.
Yeah.
No, hey,
That's what. Hey, I saw there were some questions lined up about 10 betas, and you want to talk about being real. That's what they're not, and that's my bone to pick with them.
yeah. So, Everett, if I can go there, right? We've seen
Please.
in the last few years certainly an emergence of the 10-man elite group. It seems that they're very focused on collectively coming together, but I think there's some sort of misalignment with some of the training philosophies that would maybe bring some high school athletes to some places that they don't really necessarily want to be, like on the sideline, or this idea of keep the ball rolling. If it's breaking you down and not building skeletal muscle and development, I think that could be definitely a negative thing. Your thoughts?
Well, that's one of the things I don't understand about the 10 betas training philosophy is like they are all about their recovery, and they're sponsored by Whoop, and they're always talking about the amount of sleep they got, and the way they work out. They want to leave one more rep in the tank, so on race day they can really let it go. And they have Adidas backing them, phenomenal products. But why are they always hurt? It doesn't make any sense. I'm treating every single workout like a race and giving it everything I have, and I mean, there's so many things you have to do outside of running to stay healthy, but I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I think right when you talk about even yourself going through injury, but understanding that the muscle structure really has to be developed and if you don't have the muscle structure there, it's going those forces are going straight into the bone, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to result into getting a stress fracture, or a multitude of other injuries, maybe even all the way the chain. So sort of my thoughts on that, but they certainly have a following, right? So
yeah, and that's what I'm here to question is these guys they were running the running scene, but I'm like, why is anyone listening to these guys? I mean, Drew Hunter's running what he ran in high school right now, and they've gotten some really good talents out of college, but nobody seems to get better. I mean, Jermaine Coleman, he's a sub 8 3K runner. He runs 8:36 the other day. Yeah, I just don't get it, and I don't understand why anyone would listen to these guys.
Yeah, so I think certainly, right, WesFly Athletics is jumped onto the scene this summer. Do you want to talk about even, the first meet? I mean, I certainly people can kind of go onto YouTube and check you out on Instagram, but you kind of want to talk about that first, that race that you had athletes and you took the initiative to actually put a jersey on them and give them an opportunity to wear the colors.
Yeah, no, exactly. I like to think of myself as a businessman. And I was just sitting back one day plotting, thinking about, this running industry and how Bowerman can put a jersey on these guys and, show up to these big time meets, and, Bowerman's the real deal. And, you know, even Tin Man, they did a great job marketing themselves and they can show up. But I was like, me and my boys can run pretty fast. You know, we can compete with these guys. Why not slap my WesFly athletics on them and show them, you know, who the real alphas are? So I spent all summer with Farrah and Casey and Flagstaff, and, you know, we were just putting in the mileage, working our butts off. And I was coming back from injury, so I couldn't race. And I didn't have any like credible PRs to my name to get into these races. But, you know, we had these jerseys made. We started this channel, this Instagram page, and, you know, everyone was laughing at us in the beginning. They thought they wrote us off as a joke. And, you know, we showed up to this meet and dominated the 5K fair in 13:37. And, you know, I was filming it because we're writing our story and I want these people to follow along the story. Casey goes and beats everyone on Tin Man. So I'm just sitting here wondering, like, why is Tin Man able to do this, but, you know, no one else is stepping up to the plate to challenge him. And, you know, that's what WesFly Athletics is doing.
No, it's a great insight. I appreciate it. It's certainly a model that, you know, pretty much any high school athlete across, you know, the country, you know, could even maybe adopt. I mean,
no, exactly. I encourage everyone to start their own group and, you know, bring what they have. And, you know, Tin Man doesn't want to acknowledge us, but I promise you they're scared.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. I think many of the direct messages that I've actually reached out to them and asked them, hey, you know, any training advice for a 40-year-old? No response. So don't.
Hey, that's,
you know,
that's another thing about them is, you know, they think they're so mature and cool and, you know, won't give, you know, the average Joe, you know, the time of day. But, you know, I started WesFly is not made for profit. It's to give me a platform so I can talk to people and get my message across. And, you know, it's just my passion. And, you know, if money comes one day, then great. But, like, here I am with you having a conversation about, you know, training, the future track and field. You know, I'm learning from you about, you know, what the older guys are doing to, like, you tell me the ideas about the steeple cross. And yeah, like, that's awesome. And, you know, sucks for Tim and they can't sit here and have this conversation with you.
Yeah, I think, you know, just those conversations that will come from the heart, you know, I think that's very important. So maybe you could, you know, maybe coin the phrase, give Tin Man a heart, you know, that might help them a little bit. Maybe you'll champion that narrative a bit. Yeah.
I'll just change Tin Man's phrase from keep the ball rolling to keep the tears rolling.
I'd say keep the blood flowing, you know. Hey, that's kind of my caveat or motto that I would say, you know, because there are no balls in running. I mean, well, you got, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'll leave that alone. Yeah. So here's a question for you. With so many US based 800, 1500 mile runners, do you think WesFly will want to give these athletes US racing opportunities instead of having to make, you know, money post college on the roads, or have to head to Europe to actually, you know, is that on the horizon, you think, in the future?
Yeah, for sure. You know, the only way I can put it is WesFly is being held prisoner by the NCAA right now. Like, there's so many like avenues of things we could do. And if we could get some more financial support through, you know, whatever, live streams, merch, YouTube ad revenue, because I'm not allowed to make a penny right now. And if I could bring some money into the brand, all I would do is I would redistribute it and give it back to the fans and give them what they want to see. So, you know, I would love to put on a meet with WesFly and Tin Man, and, you know, all it takes is a camera and a track. So, you know, we have fast people. You know, I've got 7 people, you know, backing me, 2 people on my team, 3 people on my WesFly team who can break 4, and you know, 4 people on the Ole Miss team who can break 4. You know, bring that together with Tim, and, you know, I don't know if anyone could break 4 from them right now, but, you know, why not bring together these 2 groups and, chase some fast times, have a good competitive meet, show the people who the big dog is in the scene. And, you saw the Texas meet this past weekend. Literally all it takes is fast people and a timing system. So yes, to answer your question, I would love to provide opportunities in the U.S. for people to race. I just can't do it being a college athlete right now.
Yeah, maybe on the horizon, obviously, bigger things on the horizon than for WesFly athletics. So exciting. Business models. Let's talk about business models a little bit. If I could sort of, get behind the curtain a little bit, do you think that pro running teams right now and the business model, and it be solely focused on selling shoes or having to specifically wear a certain brand, is actually a good business model for a squad?
Yeah. So with regards to the brand, people are contracted to Nike and Adidas and Hoka, and you need financial, and Reebok, you need financial backing to, fully run the operation, because you have to travel to meets and whatnot. But, this company right here, Love Crunch Granola, what's stopping them from sponsoring WesFly Athletics? And, all we need is the Nike shoes. We can wear the jerseys with the Love Crunch. We can wear the shorts with the Love Crunch. And, I think that's an area where people go wrong, because, in this day and age with marketing, it's all about, how many people can we get this logo in front of, and, support this brand. And I think the like system that's in place right now, everyone's following a cookie cutter like template for how to operate their running team. But the idea of, like, one of the things with WesFly is, we're runners, yeah, but we're also people who have awesome lives, and people are following our story. And WesFly is branching out. It's not just runners who follow WesFly. Like, they're just following our lives and what we do. So it brings more eyes to running. But yeah, I mean, look at YouTubers nowadays. Like, they're who's running the game. And if we can make entertaining enough videos and get enough people to watch them, I think brands other than Nike and Adidas will come in, and we can just wear Nike shoes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you talking about that. You think about most recreational runners and their whether it be their footwear and apparel choices. I mean, most of them have multiple brands that they're wearing out of, the comfort that they find in those products, not necessarily, the brand allegiance that they have solely to those brands. And so I kind of, you got to chuckle, like for runners who are, in their 40s or 50s or in their 90s, certainly with maybe a little bit more disposable income as well, than your, prototypical 20-year-old, runner.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if like, there's a Reebok running group, Justin Knight signed them in Charlottesville, Virginia. And, I love those guys. I'll respect to them. But quite honestly, I think they're doing a terrible job of, marketing for the brand of Reebok. And, they're not bringing any merch sales to Reebok. They're not promoting their shoes for people to go and buy them. And, you look at WesFly Athletics, and, this hat right here, it's just some random outdoor company. But, I guarantee you right now, I put 200 of these hats for sale online with my logo with this outdoor company. We're bringing in thousands of dollars to the company, and it's just something that a lot of other brands can't bring to the table. And that's where Tin Man's doing something right. They're not doing anything right in the running world, but from a business and marketing standpoint, they are.
Hey, I gotta ask you now. I mean, this spirit, this passion of entrepreneurship. I mean, obviously, you're studying it, there at the university, but did that get turned on in high school at all? I mean, you said you talked about, struggling academically, but, you start to think if that would have been exposed to you earlier, right? And maybe some of
Yeah.
these, and you think about, giving back to the sport or giving back to even the old, high school that you came from, is like, hey, maybe that's a way that I can also,
Yeah.
extend a reach, helping hand.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. I think I don't think I've learned a thing from the education system. I think it's all messed up. Everything I've learned about marketing and, business has been, for the greater part from YouTube and, reading from guys like Gary Vee and sort of just sitting back on my own and, observing how things are moving. And, like I said, I was like, why can't I do this? So, you know, from an educational standpoint, no, I never really had a passion for the studies of entrepreneurship, but from a me standpoint, I'm always trying to find how things are operated, where the money's going, and whatnot. And yeah, I sold Cutco knives in high school. You ever heard of those?
Uh, Actually, I have. Yes, we have a set. So,
Hey,
yep,
I sold $40,000 of those knives in 2 weeks.
that's outstanding.
So,
That's impressive.
I'll sell water to a fish.
Okay, that's awesome. They were pretty good knives too.
Yeah, also money equals freedom, and I'm all about my money.
That's excellent. I really appreciate giving an insight to that as well. Okay, I got another question. All right, so what are your thoughts on the numerous outdoor track meets that are going on the same time as the NCAA indoor season and the NCAA cross country season? So do you think all this going on at the same time makes it hard or confusing for the normal running fan to actually try to follow all this?
I think it actually makes it a lot better for the running content, because you can follow a lot of different avenues. All the pro guys are doing outdoor meets right now, and it's awesome to see what they're able to run right now, and they're throwing down wicked fast times. So and then there's NCAA cross country races going on. So after each weekend, I'm able to go through the feed. I'm able to see so many different people running different things. But where the problem is for me is with half of the NCAA doing cross country, half of it doing indoor. The pros are sort of a separate thing, but we're missing Luis Grijalva from indoor, Nico Young. So many of these good guys who are opting for cross. Who's the real champion? If you're an indoor national champion this year, are you really the best in the NCAA? And if you win cross country, let's say Connor Mantz or Luis Grijalva goes and wins cross country, are they really the champion, or could Cooper Tier have beaten them that day if he chose to do cross?
Wow. Anytime that you have to think about an asterisk even being considered next to your name, or understanding that. But I guess all of this wouldn't have been like this if we didn't have a pandemic. And so let me go and ask you, how did that go down for you? What, maybe setback for you? Maybe did you take it in stride? Talk to me about what it was like back a year ago in the pandemic when it all went down.
Yeah, it was honestly a massive blessing in disguise for me. That was what started the beginning of WesFly Athletics. But I had run 401 mile in the Dempsey Indoor Washington meet, big PR, first time PRing in 2 years. And then at that meet, I came down with the coronavirus, and it was bad. It was no joke. I felt like trash, sidelined for 5 days, tried to pull together a workout before SEC champs, and it was horrible. I could barely breathe, and then get to SECs, just barely squeak out of the mile prelim when I'm the number 3 guy in the conference based off of PRs, and I'm a racer, so I wasn't on my A game. Finish SECs, 5th place finish, but then a week later is indoor nationals, gets called off, everything gets shut down. Everyone goes home. School is online. Me and my buddies get our bags, go to Montana to escape the quarantine, whatever, stay in a cabin, do whatever for a month. I'm not running. We're saying no outdoor season. We're going to take our time off. And then, I all I saw was just this opportunity where like people are going to slack off. People are going to find excuses to not, do their training. And I was like, this is my chance to, get a leg up on everyone else. So I just trained my ass off from July until December, ran some races with my team, and started my company. And it was just a huge blessing. Came out this winter. I knew I didn't know there would be races, but I knew I would be chasing fast times and running. So I wanted to be ready to go in the middle of January. And Christmas break, went to a training camp at FSU, made some sacrifices because I knew I wanted to be ready to go on January 15th because, the way you start your season is going to dictate the rest of the season. And, I only got to spend 3 days with my family over the holidays because it's just the sacrifices you have to make to, really get done, really maximize the, time during winter break. And came out January 15th, squeaky 800 PR. And then I just had a bunch of momentum and I've just been carrying it over. And, we're a week out from national championships and we're about to see all my hard work pay off from the past 9 months.
Yeah, that's great. So thanks so much for taking us through that. The other question I've got is now having broken and becoming a sub 4 minute miler, is there any training advice that you could give to athletes, other runners who want to pursue that? Certainly, I mean, it's like the one thing that, most high schoolers dream, most college runners dream, most pro runners still dream of being under the sub 4. Is there anything you could give in terms of advice to those athletes pursuing that?
Yeah, I think my best piece of advice was, obviously you do all the training you can do, but don't glorify the 4 minute barrier. Cause when you do that, you're setting up a mental barrier of like this, beautiful thing. And, I've always said, you just get out and race and the times will come. So, I was stuck at 401 for 3 years. Cause I had this 4 minute barrier. Obviously, I was getting better, but I was just thinking of this 4 minute barrier. And this year I was like, screw that. I don't even care. I just want to get out and race and, compete. And if the time comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I just lost all fear of not being able to hit that barrier. And that just, it made it a lot more enjoyable because if you look at a season and you say, oh, if I don't break 4, it's a failure. But if you just set, abstract goals as to, you just want to, maximize your effort and practice every day. You just want to get out and race and, you're not worried about times. That's where I think the, glorious times come from and the good performances. So my advice would be don't glorify the barrier. Keep showing up. I was stuck at 401 for 3 years. Like I said, like your time will come, unless you're 29 years old, you're only getting better at this point.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. The one thing that comes to mind, earlier you had talked about having an inspirational speaker at your high school graduation. You had Billy Mills at your high school graduation speak as the commencement speaker. What did he say to you that resonated?
We didn't have Billy Mills wasn't the speaker. We had it was some military veteran who was friends with Billy Mills, and what he did was the whole entire commencement speech was about Billy Mills' legendary 10,000 meter race where he was like one of the biggest underdogs ever, and got out in the race and he wasn't at front. And then the last 800, 400 meters, he just, turned the burners on and just, put on one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen. The message was not not count yourself out early. And then we got to have a 2-minute clip from Billy Mills speaking to us. And
wow.
he was just telling you like, congratulations on graduating and whatnot. And yeah, what I took from that is, no matter where you are, like, don't count yourself out.
That's
And,
great.
he was like, I don't know, 24 people in that race. He was probably ranked 24th. And, I had a similar thing my freshman year. I was ranked 68th in the region in the 1500 meters. And then after scratches, I got into regionals. And so, I was like the 48th guy. And, I was like, screw that, we're showing up and we're racing. And, being the 48th ranked guy, making it to the top 12 and going to nationals as a freshman, like, that just blew so many barriers off for me. It's just teaches you firsthand never to count yourself out. And, the stat boards and the rankings, they're all just a bunch of nonsense. None of it matters.
No, that's phenomenal, Everett. That's great insight. I mean, even when you're describing that, you say it's so relaxed, and that's certainly, you carry that into your running too. Obviously, it's pretty impressive to be relaxed and being able to run 148 or 358, right, with future races to come. But yeah, you can really sense that too. So
How about I ask you some questions?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
All right, so you started running in high school, Coach K, and now you're active Army member. At what did you run in college while also doing the Army?
Yeah, so I stumbled into running, ran 4 years in high school, and I pursued running at South Dakota State 4 years there, but I found ROTC, and I had no idea really what the Army was really about. I knew, obviously, yeah, you know, it's the Army, right? You see movies and stuff, but I really didn't understand what, being an officer was. So I signed up for it, took a couple classes, really liked some of the leadership right, these non-commissioned officers were already started to pour into you when you just took the class. Like, it's free on, over 270 colleges and universities across the country. And yeah, so I was like, I really like this. So let me see if I can get a scholarship. I get a scholarship for ROTC. And, when you sign a scholarship, you're signing a contract basically to serve. I was serving, I signed up for a contract of 8 years. So it was 4 years active and then 4 years in the Guard or Reserve or inactive ready reserve. So every enlistment, every, commission really is going to be for 8 years. And there's, right, some parts that are active. Maybe it's all in the reserves or the National Guard. But what I'm trying to say is there was this whole nother world of the military that I think our society really doesn't understand. They probably see a lot of the things that are in the news or they hear and from maybe family members, but this was my way of, certainly paying for school.
Yeah.
And after 20 years, it goes by quick. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of people listening can relate. Like, there's athletes out there who have to work a 9-to-5 job, and student athletes who have their plate full, and I'm sure it's hard for you to balance family life, social life, Army life, running life. How do you like prioritize your how do you schedule your time where you have time to work on pivotal running, work on your own running, active Army member? I don't know if you have a family or whatnot, and for example, I have to sacrifice my social life. I'm not, Friday night, I'm not able to go out and have fun. I've stuff I got to do. So, I'm not even an active Army member. So I'm just trying to pick your brain as to, how you're able to pursue this and pursue running and pursue, whatever else is on your plate.
Yeah, I appreciate the question, Everett. I think everybody's trying to figure out, how to balance, no matter what they're at, you're graduating college or, being in the Army, raising a family. I like to use the, analogy of like, say people use resiliency, but I kind of like buoyancy. And you got to figure out that, hey, everybody's going to be in like, majority of their body's going to be in water. So, and to balance, gravity's pulling down at you, try to take you under the water. But, what's really is going to keep you afloat are these, right, it's going to be your family, right? Your spiritual, your physical, your mental, all these things are really going to be, help keep you buoyant in life. And so that's not like a eureka moment or anything like for me, but it's just something I held on to. I think there's a great story. Louis Zamperini.
Yep. Unbroken.
Yeah. Unbroken. Right. So, he's the longest surviving member. Right. He spent 47 days on a life raft, right, out in the Pacific. And that's kind of where I'm, kind of, hanging on as well, trying to find buoyancy as well, right? And so you're not always going to be, there's going to be rough patches. There's going to be storms in life. I mean, you could take, and with all those things, I think, you're going to have to figure out, where true north is. And I would extend, you can use those, lessons that Louis Zamperini certainly went through, because those are real stories, right? There's countless, surviving members of, POWs, former Senator John McCain, Colonel Day. He's down, he's from Sioux City, Nebraska. And there's so many stories of, Medal of Honor winners that have gone through way more stuff that we may never see, right? But that's for me. I think it's, where's my true north? And then, if you're off a couple degrees, that's going to take you off the path or off navigating. So it's really important you have your true north. And my true north is with God. So I mean that's.
Hey, I'm right there with you on that, brother. Yeah. But I think that's a good way of looking at it, because it puts things in perspective. Like, everyone goes through these rough patches and they want to sit there and feel sorry for themselves. But then you think about people like that, and it makes me realize that what I do is easy. I get to go and run for fun and get my school paid for. But guys like you're making sacrifices for our country so that we can have the freedom to go to these universities and whatnot. Like, just being in America is, enough of a blessing in itself. And I think people should just, instead of focus on the things that are going bad, just be grateful for what they do have.
Yeah, no, I appreciate asking the question and certainly having the perspective that you do, because it's I think it's what is it, less than 0.5% are in the military. But military service is not the only profession that's certainly serving, and there's so many professionals out there that just got a love for country, that really want to make an impact in their profession and as an American.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's why I love our sport so much, because if you look at our sport, you see so many highly productive, competitive individuals who can not only understand the requirements, but bring it together collectively.
Yep.
And if you've never done the sport, if you've never participated in like the sport of running, whether it be cross country or track and field as an athlete, it's difficult to understand if you're maybe just doing a 5K episodically, if that makes sense. But being part of that team, yeah.
Yeah, one of the most rewarding things about running that I've seen in my career, and I'm sure you can relate to it, is like I was talking about earlier, like you get to see, you get to track the progress, and the clock doesn't lie. And like you get to see that the work you put in is the work you put out, the work you get out. And yeah, you can apply that to any part of your life. And yeah, it's just been the greatest lesson I've ever had. If I were to lose a leg tomorrow, the life lessons I would have got from running would be, a lifetime worth of lessons.
Absolutely. And you will look out for people that you can, inspire and
Exactly.
motivate from those experiences. And that's the point, right? In life is that you can use all these, personal experiences that you can bring into conversations and have heart to hearts like this is real.
Exactly.
And yeah, really, get people to do things that they never thought possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just sitting here talking with you has got me, fired up to go, you know, take this brand to the next level. And you were telling me about your ideas, and I can feed off that. Like you're trying to do something that's never even been heard of before with steeple cross, and it's got me thinking like, what else is out there? Like what else is out there that hasn't been done yet? Like I
Yeah,
think
no,
your idea is a great idea.
yeah. So, I'm a big NASCAR fan, right? So I love the ability, like we were talking about earlier, is that you could take, brands and you could have them all over you, right?
Exactly.
You're picking them up, and that you're signing, agreements with them, and it's a business. And so it doesn't have to be, just one brand that's that has really invested in you and your team, right? Your squad. So, I think on the horizon, I could see something like, licensing, like squads,
Yeah.
1 through 100, right?
Yeah. No,
And maybe
exactly.
you'll pick up the first license, someday, I'll
Hey,
save. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, yeah, that'd be fantastic. I hope so.
Yeah. And so I'll save 03 for you, because I can, that's a special number, right, in NASCAR. So,
There we go.
yeah, this has been great, Everett. I really do appreciate, right, the honest and candid discussion that we had today. I would love to have you back on. Certainly, we could get you back on at some point. Certainly, as the season progresses, and best is yet to come for you and your teammates. It's just impressive, certainly as a fan of this great sport, to watch and see you not only succeed individually, but also collectively, as that squad builds that momentum and brings that into nationals. And just really been fun to spend time with you today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I had a good time talking with you. Let's make it happen again, and make sure you tune into the national championships next week. We're going to shock the world.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Pivotal Running Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, pivotalrunning.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you simply would tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. Thanks.